Well, hello and welcome back to Mr. Gizgian's classroom tutorial online videos. This one is going to talk about the flowcharts, and we're going to start with this flowchart for our writer. These flowcharts were designed as a way to have a visual way of looking at the different parts of the assignment, the different jobs and the different documents that are needed to complete your job as either the writer, project manager, editor, or graphics designer. This particular tutorial is going to talk about the flowchart for the writer. So as you'll see, this is the flowchart for the writer. I have it opened in PDF. So I'm using Adobe Acrobat Reader. You will find the writer flowchart on the classroom website. At the top here it says writer, so that you know that this is the writer's flowchart. And in order for the writer to complete their job, what they need to do is write a game concept. In order to create this game concept, or what this game concept will help you to create, is the following three things. So your project proposal is directly linked to your game concept. You cannot have a project proposal unless you have already come up with a game concept. Likewise, you cannot have any game text unless you have a game concept. And all the way down here at the bottom, you'll see that this line continues to the press release, which is the last portion of the writer's job. So the press release is the last thing that gets done. So you'll see that all the way here at the bottom. So first, the writer has to come up with a game concept. They have to have a written version of what your game is all about. What is the characters, what are they going to do, how are they going to move. I don't have a easier way to explain the word concept. It's simply your game concept. So this is the first thing that your group has created. You should already have that at this point, so you'll have this part done. But there's an actual file, a Word file, that is associated with your game concept. And from your game concept, the next things that you're going to create is the game text and your project proposal. Now the project proposal is where you describe who is going to do what, and you describe what is needed in your project. What do you have to do in order to actually complete this game? And as you go along the process of building your project, and what your final project proposal will look like, is going to require some team meeting notes. So every time your team meets, whether it's in the class or whether it's out of class or online, or if you do email conversations or some other form of meeting with your group to discuss or talk about the game and how it's developing, you should be taking notes at each of those meetings. So your team meeting notes are going to be important. You'll have team meeting notes that talk specifically about your project proposal and what you're doing and how you're doing it. And you're also going to have team meeting notes about your game text. Now these two team meeting notes seem to be separate assignments, but really they're not. They're just team meeting notes about the project proposal and team meeting notes about the game text. I've had a few questions already about what is game text. Anytime your characters talk in the game, and you have to actually write out the text, or you have your characters speaking, or pretty much anytime you have words in your game, that is going to be considered your game text. So there's going to be a document that has a list of all of your different text elements from your game, whether they're spoken or whether they're written out on the screen. And you should have in that game text area not only what is being spoken or what is being said or what is being written out, but you should also have where in the game that occurs, what character, is saying that. Maybe if it's a main screen or a menu, have some way labeled where that piece of text goes in your game. So that's the game text screen. And again, the meeting notes can be combined into one Word document that just covers your general meeting notes, but there should be notes about both your game text and your project proposal. So you're going to use your team meeting notes, your game text, your project proposal, and your game concept. All these things are going to combine to make what you call your project outline. So that's going to cover everything. That's not only the project proposal, what you propose to do, but what happened in that process. And your project outline is going to be the piece that you use to create your final team report. This is going to tell you what happened in the process, different steps along the way, things that you learned, things that went wrong, things that went right, issues with communication, issues with development, any of those sorts of things. This team report is going to be really important when you get to your final presentation that you're going to give to the Sharks, and when you come up with both your press releases and your public release, or I'm sorry, your commercial marketing and your public release. So the last piece that the writer makes after all of this is done, and this should be towards the end of fourth quarter, is they're going to make your press release. So your press release has two different components to it. It has your public release, which is what you are going to release to the public as your marketing, selling your game to the public. That's anything from, it could be a video, it could be a website, it could be a blog, it could be a variety of different things. But if there's any text related to your public release or any spoken words, any script that's related to your public release, that is what the writer will be responsible for. And again, this is probably one of the last things that you're going to work on because you want most of your game to be completed before you start releasing information to the public. The other part of your press release is your commercial marketing. That is the actual script that you will use and any text that you will use in your PowerPoint presentation in order to market to investors. This is going to be your Shark Tank activity at the end of the year. So this should cover how the flowchart works and kind of how it helps you organize your thinking in creating the different files and documents necessary to complete the writer's portion of the game design project. I hope this was helpful in explaining the flowchart, and I hope to see you at the next tutorial.